As we are live from West Palm Beach here, down in National Spring Training, I've got my 3 big takeaways from West Palm Beach. I'll tell you after this.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. Catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, just make sure to check us out over on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it nowadays. We don't even know. Later on in today's show, Dalen Lyle had a very scary injury yesterday, but everything should be okay moving forward. Davey Martinez was asked about that yesterday. We'll debrief about that situation and what to expect moving forward. Of course, one more kind of development here in spring training. As again, I am down here. I've gotten to see some prospects down in the side fields. Cristhian Vaquero, the first time I've gotten to lay my eyes on him, I did not see him down in Fredericksburg last year as he was up in for a limited time in Fredericksburg. Cristhian Vaquero, one thing really stuck out to me. I'll tell you about that. And also Yohandy Morales, another key prospect within the Nationals organization. We'll get into both those guys a little bit later on. But my first and big topic for today, 3 big takeaways from National Spring Training. We'll start you off with our first big takeaway after I tell you guys about our sponsor of today's show. And of course, it is always FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So we're going to get started with, again, discussing the 3 biggest takeaways from National Spring Training. As I was just down there, this is a Sunday. The game got rained out yesterday. Still got to go in the clubhouse, talk with some of the players, get to know some of the guys, saw what they were doing in the side fields before the game, as well as what they would be doing during the game, getting prepared for the game. Ultimately, it started raining. And of course, it got rained out. But my number one biggest takeaway from this team is that this is, again, not the craziest takeaway in the world. I'll just say that. This team is young. Once you go into that clubhouse, and really once you see them wherever you may be, whether it's walking in a clubhouse, whether you're going to sign autographs for a season ticket holder event, one thing you're going to notice, this is a very, very young, immature ball club as far as baseball goes, as far as professional baseball goes. We were talking with someone the other day about this, someone within the Nationals organization. It is a very different process, even from the minors jumping into the majors. You go from playing in college baseball, maybe 3 to 4 days a week, all the way to 6 days a week. The adjustments that you have to make are really just kind of unprecedented, to where we just can't really fathom it. We just look at them and it's like they're playing baseball. Well, I was in there at 8 a.m. today. 8 a.m. on Sunday, rather. This is, again, on a Sunday. It's not their off day or anything. They have an off day on Tuesday. On a Sunday morning, when you don't play a game until 1, all the players, every single one of them, the managers, the coaching staff, the trainers, all of them are already been there, already dressed, may have already worked out, already eaten their breakfast. It is a different process. We have no idea how much goes into being a Major League Baseball player, and that doesn't even account for the 3-hour plus game that you're going to be playing starting at 1 o'clock. So at 8 a.m., having guys like Cristhian Vaquero in there, Brady House, all your younger prospects kind of getting acclimated to what it's like being a Major League Baseball player every single day, it just kind of puts you in a mindset as to, that's an adjustment. Think about it. If you're starting a new job, it takes a little bit while for you to get adjusted. It takes a little bit of a turn for you to get used to where the coffee is, for you to get to know where the HR person is, or wherever else that next step could be coming. It's going to take some time to get adjusted to that. And so I think with the Nationals, one thing that was really eye-opening to me was that these are young players who are still figuring out where the training room is within the Nationals building, where all these different rooms are. These guys are young. It's going to take a little bit longer than what a lot of fans may want/hope for it to really gel this season. but it's going to happen at some point. And the reason why that is because you've got a ton of youthful kind of talent in the building. You've got your Brady House. You've got your James Wood. You've got all your different guys. You've got Dylan Cruz even. There's so many different players you can go through this with and say, this is their first time at big league camp, and you can kind of tell. They're young. It's going to take some time to gel together. But one other big takeaway that can kind of side off from this is this clubhouse is a good one. You've had nationals, and not just nationals. Clubhouse, it happens at every big league clubhouse. There's a lot of guys who are veteran guys who in the nationals, they got really good veterans. Patrick Corbin, Trevor Williams, Victor Robles, who's also on that 2019 team. There's a lot of different guys in this clubhouse that are number one veterans, but also number two, it is majority dominated by the young guys. That's something that you probably should expect with this national team. And honestly, it's not crazy to expect that. That's what you want. You want this youth movement to take place, and hopefully this team can kind of take a next jump forward. My number two takeaway, this is going to be a fun team to watch. And not only is it going to be a fun team to watch out for Robert Hassel. I got to catch up with Robert Hassel a little bit early on yesterday, talking about his hand injury, recovering from it this last year. He was never at fully 100%. That is something that he was explaining to me. And of course, I'll have that conversation for you at some point this week. Robert Hassel, I'm telling you right now, watch out for Robert Hassel being a very quick riser, kind of the way that we anticipated back in 2022 when you traded for Robert Hassel. Robert Hassel is probably the biggest name in that haul outside of Mackenzie Gore and CJ Abrams, who are already on the Padres roster. But Robert Hassel was the main name in that deal. Obviously, we know that James Wood was the hype prospect, that Mike Rizzo probably wouldn't have done that deal without James Wood in that package. Of course, there's others as well. Yarling Susana, another big name in that deal. Of course, Robert Hassel has kind of been the forgotten name. Right now, he's healthy. He is 100% healthy. His strength is back into it. You can really see it in the swing as he's going opposite field. You saw the opposite field home run the other day. He's going to be a gap-to-gap kind of hitter, and watching him take BP, you can see him kind of work on his craft. You can kind of tell with guys who are already in the cages, they're just kind of visualizing what they will be doing in the game, and you see it with Robert Hassel going the other way. That is kind of the hit tool that we all expected to see that we just haven't really been able to see since he got traded here to Washington. I think going forward, Robert Hassel is going to be that one name that you can really kind of look out for and say, this is going to be a guy moving forward. It's not going to be last year. He's not going to have the big issues and the struggles that he had this past season. Moving forward, I'm telling you right now, he's going to be a guy. And a lot of the nationals within the organization, members of the organization, they are very high on him, the way that they speak on him. And it's also not even just that. If you watch him play and watch him hit BP compared from last year going into this season, it's a much different animal. So watch out for Robert Hassel. He's kind of the one guy who also is kind of mixing up in the clubhouse, being that fun, energetic guy. I think Nationals fans will really learn to love Bobby Barrels, Robert Hassel III, whichever you want to call him at this point in time. He's going to be a fun player to watch moving forward, so look out for Robert Hassel. Number 3, CJ Abrams, again, another Padres in that deal. Could be primed for a breakout season. And also, I'm going to say this, may not be crazy, but he looks a lot bigger. It's one thing that has really stuck out to me with these young guys. Kind of see how they handle their body in the offseason. You can kind of tell this national team, they're very serious this offseason. After all, they are professional athletes. It's the expectation to be in shape. CJ Abrams, though, walking in the clubhouse, you can see one thing very noticeably, in my opinion. He has put on a little bit of weight, and it's not bad weight. He's not out there going hard on the weekends. This guy has been working out. He's been getting in shape. I think that is something that you will see in his game this year that may kind of put him over that 20 home run mark eventually. That's kind of the 2020 position that we've always been talking about with CJ Abrams, that kind of Trey Turner kind of talent that he possesses. I think this is the year where you could see that. Hitting 18 home runs last year, he was very close to it. He stayed healthy, but still, we don't want CJ Abrams to get all jacked. That's not really his game. What makes CJ Abrams special is that he can steal bases. He can kind of stretch the infield out just a little bit, having that speed in the back pocket. That is what makes CJ Abrams special. I don't need CJ Abrams to go out there and have this big power tool display. That's not what we need from him. We want CJ Abrams kind of fit at the top of the lineup, and that is ideally what he will do moving forward. So watch out with CJ Abrams. I'm telling you right now, that's another guy who, when I was watching today, and really just in general, as the season has gone on, as you guys watch him, as you listen to Charlie and Dave on the radio, whatever it may be, you'll see a lot of people discussing CJ Abrams, kind of the growth that he has taken from just last year going into this season. And again, he's starting to be one of those veteran guys in the clubhouse. He's been with the Nationals since 2022. He's been up in the majors since 2022. He played last year the entire way as a shortstop for this team. He's going to be the shortstop for this team in 2024, yet again, and hopefully and beyond. Watch out for CJ Abrams to have that breakout season that a lot of Nationals fans and a lot of Nationals spectators really want to see from him moving forward. Next, let's talk about this. Cristhian Vaquero. I saw him for the first time in person, just turned 19 a few months back, very young, but still you see as to why he was nicknamed the phenomenon. I'll tell you why I think that after I tell you guys about our good friends over at FanDuel. And guys, get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and much, much more. And of course, the Wizards haven't won a game since last January. Oh my God, this team is so bad. Go to FanDuel and tell you this right now. Just bet against the Wizards. That's what I'm going to do. But when I do it, I'm going to go on FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. Again, that is FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot, because FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your. And of course, again, check us out over on Twitter and as well as YouTube. Just search up Locked On Nationals there. Hit that subscriber button. That is where you'll see your daily content, as I am in an Airbnb right now down at West Palm Beach, recording live here. Got a little sun as well. Unfortunately, it's been a little rainy here, but ultimately hasn't been rainy down at Cacti Park, because the Nationals, they've got a lot of stuff to work on. But of course, the youth movement is real. And I think the youth movement, it starts with Brady House, James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Robert Hassel, all the big name prospects. But another big name guy that I saw that was pretty damn big, Cristhian Vaquero. This is someone who, again, if you're down in the weeds of Nationals prospects, first off, good for you. And second off, you know what I'm talking about here. Cristhian Vaquero is nicknamed the Phenomenon, one of the bigger international signings of the Nationals within the last few seasons. I believe was signed back in 2020 in that international signing period. Born in Cuba, was signed in that Dominican Republic class. Cristhian Vaquero, and what I saw from him today was, number one, you see why he's called the Phenomenon. They were doing long cut drills in the outfield. It was him and Elijah Green over in center field. Cristhian Vaquero, the one thing that is very clear to me is that this guy is going to be a potential elite center fielder someday. That is kind of his ceiling. And again, 19 years old, there's a lot of improvement to go into this season for. But with Vaquero, one thing has stood out to me. He's got a lot of room to grow. And he's already grown a ton over the last year. If you follow him over on Instagram, you'll probably see a lot of different things. He works out all the time at West Palm Beach. He's got good agents. He's got good workout mechanics, all the different things. The kid's almost a millionaire at this point in his time, how much money he signed back in 2020. So obviously he's going to be putting a lot of money into his body. But he is a tall, lanky, strong kid. And again, that is the emphasis about this. He is 19 years old, man. This is someone who should have been a high school senior last year. He is down at minor league camp. He's working on the side fields. You probably won't really see him up in majors at any point for the next 2-3 seasons at most. But Cristhian Vaquero is one of those guys where, starting in Fredericksburg this year, that is the kind of guy that you're going to go and pay to see. Cristhian Vaquero will be the guy, if your Fredericksburg Nats will be sitting next to Gus, their little mascot there down in Fredericksburg. He's going to be that guy who could be having a bobblehead someday at Fredericksburg. He's going to be the price of admission when it comes to single-A baseball for your Washington Nationals, because the talent is there. One thing that I saw from him is, again, the hit tool, and also taking live batting practice against some former big league pitchers like Hunter Harvey, for example. He went down swinging at one point in time for a strike three. But beyond that, the impressive part was this. He was going up against some other minor leaguer, which at this point, I didn't get to see the name of. I didn't see who it was throwing. But he came in against Hunter Harvey. He goes from the left side of the plate to the right side of the plate. Having that switch hitting potential already at your disposal, having someone of that kind of talent, someone who can play center field and play a damn good center field with a good plus arm, someone who has plus range, someone who has plus running ability, someone who has a hit tool, and also someone who has room to grow and have some power. And then on top of it, you go from the left side of the plate to the right side of the plate. That is a little bit of something of today's game. That is something that you want to see from a lot of different guys. That is the ultimate prospect in which why you would call someone and nickname them the phenomenon. Cristhian Vaquero is going to be a name to watch moving forward, and now actually seeing him first time in person, I think it's going to be a very fun watch to see him develop. This last year, his numbers were relatively good. Down at rookie ball in Florida, again, at the Florida Complex League, he was fine, had good numbers, had an 801 OPS at one point in time, had some power numbers there, didn't really steal as many bags as I thought he could, but I think that's something that as you see him kind of mature and grow and understand the game more just a little bit, that is when you'll kind of see him start to skyrocket up these prospect rankings boards because they're in no rush to develop him. He's going to be a project, and you've seen it. It's going to take some time with it. Allow that process to happen. You've got Dylan Cruz. You've got James Wood. You've got Brady House. You've got all these different outfielding prospects, Robert Hassel. Those are the guys who kind of need to develop within the next 2 seasons. Vaquero's got time, man, and including Elijah Green. Elijah Green looked impressive as well. Ultimately, didn't really get to see too much of him because I was focusing more on the major league guys. But as these minor leaguers and what we saw, Cristhian Vaquero, I see the potential with him. I see why a lot of people are very high up on Washington, D.C., see what the Nationals can do with him. But also, it wasn't just him. I want to talk about Yohandy Morales. He was down at minor league camp. You saw him just a little bit on Friday as a lot of beat reporters were talking about him and Andrew Pinckney getting up with the major leaguers. And I think that is a very valuable experience for not just him, for the Nationals, because this is going to be someone who I think could be a little bit of a fast riser within the system. Again, to kind of rejuvenate your thoughts about Yohandy Morales, was supposed to be a top 25-ish pick last year in the MLB draft. Could have been up there at one point in time, but ultimately fell the Nationals into the second round. They snagged him, signed him to a nice old deal there in that second round. I don't know where he will play at this point. He was over at third base taking reps today. You saw him. You saw the potential that he brings to the table. You saw why the Nationals took him over at second overall, or second round rather, not second overall. That was where Dylan Cruz was. But you saw the vision. You saw as to why they did what they did. The guy's big. The power is going to come. And again, last year, and it's just a half a season, good or bad, throw that out the window. It's a good year. I was very pleasantly surprised with what Yohandy Morales did. But again, I think still the most impressive thing about Morales and what he did in 2023, you never saw a home run. You never saw him with that ultimate power tool. He never hit one down in Fredericksburg. He never hit one up in high A Wilmington, and he never hit one in double A Harrisburg. Once the power comes, and trust me, it's going to come eventually. That is kind of when you'll see Yohandy Morales go up on this rocket ship, in my opinion, of what could be a very quick riser. So to kind of put a bow on this conversation within a lot of these minor leaguers today, I see the vision. I see what the Nationals are building here. A lot of these guys who may not be on your Baseball America's top 100 prospect boards, these guys may not be on MLB.com's radar, may not be on Keith Law's radar from The Athletic. But you do see a lot of building blocks in which some guys are lottery tickets. Some guys may be good, but some guys may not be all too great. You see the process. You see what Mike Rizzo was trying to build here. I think that is what today was all about. You see a lot of different things out there in which could be a little bit different. It could be a little bit worse, but ultimately, we'll just have to see what the Nationals do, how they develop their guys. Ultimately, I was very pleasantly surprised with how some of the young guys did today. Next, let's talk about Dalen Lyles. He had a little bit of a scary injury, but Davey Martinez, he talked about it. Everything should be good to go. But Dalen Lyles, again, a good prospect. The Nationals, we'll just have to see how they develop him. We'll talk about him after I tell you guys about our good friends over at Gametime, and you should never have to worry about stressing when you're buying tickets to your next big event, because Gametime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guaranteed. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Some of my favorite features when it comes to Gametime is that you can buy last-minute tickets with flash deals, zone deals, whatever you want to say. And also, one of my other favorite features is that they've got views from your seat that you can see from your phone. Like, for example, if you're over at Wrigley Field, or maybe you're coming down to Cacti Park and you want to find the best possible seat, go over to Gametime, look them up. You'll find them, and you can also see the views from your seats. No obstruction, maybe screeches in your way. You want to see if he can get out your way. Gametime will show you everything and much, much more. And of course, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And David Martinez was asked about Dalen Lyle today and yesterday. As of course, if you haven't heard, on Friday he had a very kind of scary situation unfold there, and Dalen Lyle went for a ball. Actually, it was on Saturday rather, in Fort Myers against the Red Sox, and he went for a ball out in the outfield, fell over the fence there into the Red Sox bullpen, fell on his back a little weird way, and immediately the Red Sox bullpen, you see them all wavering down for the trainers to come down and get him. It's a scary situation when you see anyone kind of react in that situation, but he was stretchered off the field, was taken to the hospital for a test. Everything came back clear, and ultimately he sounds like he dodged a bullet in a sense with a lower back contusion. But Davey Martinez was asked about that today, had a lot of good things to say. He's in good spirits. He's encouraged by it. And at this point, Dalen Lyle is going to be day-to-day. So that is a good thing. Now, let's talk about Dalen Lyle for a little bit, as today has been about the prospects. It's been about the future. And really, that's what this Nationals team is all about. That's what it's got to be about. Now with this, though, the Nationals, their situation when it comes to outfielding prospects. Now, again, you might not see Dalen Lyle for, who knows, maybe a few more days, maybe a few more weeks. You don't really know at this moment in time, but it's not anything serious. That's good news. Dalen Lyle is going to be a problem as well. The Nationals, again, we've kind of talked about this, the way that they have maneuvered the prospects around. They've showed their cards of what they think of Dalen Lyle, bringing him up to big league camp, thinking that he is ready for that step, even after just a high A Wilmington stint last year, in which he wasn't all too impressive, but still, you could see the potential of Dalen Lyle now. As the Nationals continue to develop him, as he stays healthy, because that is an ultimately big thing for Dalen Lyle, as he got Tommy John surgery back in 2022, or back in 2021, going into 2022, missed that entire season. Last year, started out in Fredericksburg, killed the baseball, was on a lot of Nationals fans' radars, as they should be, obviously, because he is a very talented player, a very talented prospect. The Nationals, they've got themselves in pretty good hands as far as outfielding prospects go. But of course, this week, we'll have a ton for you. So make Locked On Nationals your first listen. And of course, you'll never know who we'll be able to talk to and who may be on the show moving forward. So keep your eye out for Locked On Nats. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats. Catch you on the other hand.